welcome back to another video.
My child, back so soon? My, it's a miracle.
So right now for you today, I have a mini grocery haul, and this is a stock up of snacks and drinks only.
Of course, my princess. You need your rest. Your life has been so hard and such a struggle that, yes, I insist. For the rest of the week, you must eat only snacks and order takeaways. For that is my wish.
This is just snacks and drinks. Just to remind you guys that I'm doing a counting calories.
Did you just say snacks and drinks and then counting calories in the same breath? My, scandalous.
Lifestyle change, so I'm still allowing myself some snacks.
Take it from me, your fairy godmother. When one is pursuing a lifestyle change or counting calories, a snack should be a piece of fruit, or maybe a yogurt, or something of that nature. I believe you are slightly misguided.
And I'm trying to learn how to control myself around them.
My dear, we all know that your self-control is somewhat lacking. I mean, we saw what you did with that prince from that sandy place. The moment you clapped eyes on him, you practically ripped the trousers off him. Willpower and self-control isn't exactly your forte. Maybe a different tactic or direction maybe would be more prudent, don't you think?
I know for some I'm still gonna sound delulu, and that's okay, because, you know, I don't know how it sounds delulu to try to repair your relationship with food and try to eat in moderation and count calories, but, you know, eating only meat and eliminating everything else doesn't sound insane to some people. You know, to each their own.
Yes, your method sounds quite smart and intelligent, except that's not actually what you're doing. You don't eat anything in moderation, and your calorie counting is at best questionable. You see, in order to count a calorie, one has to know exactly the amount of food you have and all the extra elements you've added. If you had, for example, a piece of meat, say steak, and you added butter and seasoning, and then fried it, and then, I don't know, maybe put some cheese on it for whatever reason, because you're a heathen and don't actually appreciate good food, you wouldn't then decide, well, that looks like it's about 50 grams, and so I will put 50 grams of steak into my little calorie counter and call it a day, and neglect to add the butter and the seasonings and the cheese, and the fact that it wasn't 50 grams, it was actually an 8-ounce steak, and so your calories are woefully miscalculated and underestimated. And the thing about calorie controls is you need a set of scales to measure the weight of the food, and you need to stick within the actual portions. Just because a small packet of crisps seems like a small packet of crisps to you, who is used to eating entire family-sized bags, doesn't mean the small packet of crisps isn't actually an actual portion that actual people actually eat. That small packet of crisps, that's a serving size. I know. That's the size that we are told we should eat. That's the recommended amount. Yes, I know to you that's just a mouthful, but it's actually what you should be eating. Although one would argue one shouldn't be eating them at all. But that's just me, the fairy godmother, who happens to be particularly old and especially wise, and ever so slightly a smart ass. And with regards to eating just meat, one presumes that one is referring to keto diets. Yes? Yes, because keto diets are not just meat. No. For a start, they're actually extremely effective in losing a lot of weight over a very short-term period, which incidentally would be ever so beneficial to you because it would greatly reduce the health risks you're currently facing. And it just so happens that keto is quite highly recommended for those that are suffering from type 2 diabetes. Anyway, a keto diet just means low carb. It doesn't mean just meat. It means meat as long as it's good quality meat and not processed junk like deli meats and sausages and things of that nature, and lots of dark green vegetables, all the salad vegetables you can eat, most hard cheeses, eggs, dairy products, cream is actually included. Go figure. The problem is, for you, despite the fact that the amount of food you can eat on a keto diet is actually quite large and filling and does satisfy you, it doesn't contain any carbohydrates that you like bread and pasta and rice and popcorn and that nature, and therefore the idea of a keto diet, which is very, very effective in the short term, which is no more than 6 months, and is strongly recommended for those with type 2 diabetes, doesn't satisfy your particular taste buds. And therefore, because it doesn't suit you, suddenly it doesn't work at all, which is, well, slightly delulu, don't you think?
That's, everyone has their own opinion. So we have a mixed bag of Kuwait chips. There's all these different kinds of chips.
Okay, this belongs to one of my little goblins, okay, and is a vastly superior chip, by the way, and there are 6 packets within, and each packet has 57 calories, which sounds fantastic. It says that 1 packet is a serving, which is great. I mean, the carbohydrates are a touch on the high side, and basically it has no nutritional value whatsoever. As a fellow sufferer of BED, I know the very second I open one packet with the intention of eating one packet, which is only 57 calories, so it isn't going to hurt, suddenly at least 3 bags have gone. All in one go. And that's if I'm lucky, because I am perfectly capable of eating all 6 in one go, even though I only intended to eat one. But do you know how I control eating these? By not getting them at all. Now these belong to my goblins, so they're safe, because there is a part of me that feels very guilty when I eat the food that belongs to the goblins, because I don't think that's fair. I do slip up sometimes when my food noise gets overwhelming, but as a person who doesn't have goblins, unless you want to count your husband, who is a goblin. Okay, you have a goblin. But your goblin should be mature enough to understand that if he wants some snacky wackies, he can keep his snacky wackies to himself. Yes, he can put them up somewhere really high, for example, or have them in secret and not to tell you, because if you knew he had snacky wackies, you'd probably beat the shit out of him until he gave them to you.
In bag number 1, we have these Cadbury Timeouts wafers. These are mostly for Salah. I know I usually eat his chocolate bars, but that's if it's like a Snickers. This is like a wafer. I'm not too huge on wafers.
These belong to my goblins too. I'm not particularly fond of them because they are incredibly sweet and the Nutella centre tends to stick to the roof of my mouth. However, when the food noise gets to me, you fucking bet I'm going to eat them. Because when the food noise talks to me and tells me, in this particular instance, I want to eat sweet shit, any sweet shit will do, whether I actually like it or not. There have been times during binges where I have eaten frosting, pre-prepared frosting, the stuff you roll out and put on cakes for like weddings. Yes, frosting. There are other times where I have eaten cough sweets because I wanted something sweet. And there was one time I very foolishly ate an entire jar of vitamin gummies, orange flavour, not my favourite, but I wanted something sweet, I wanted something now, and that was all I had. So buying something sweet to have in the house for your goblins that you don't particularly like is not going to guarantee that you're not going to stuff your face with it when your food noise tells you, I want to eat sweet stuff and I want to eat it now. So again, either don't buy any of that crap, or let your goblin buy his little snacky snacks himself and keep them hidden in a treasure chest or something.
And these were on sale, and these are like one thing I love so much.
Just because it's on sale doesn't mean you have to get it. The thing about buying things on sale, because it gives you the perception of having made a good deal and saving money, is you haven't saved money because, say you bought something that was 75 pence instead of a whole pound, you think you've saved 25 pence by buying this thing that you didn't need, that was on sale. No, you haven't saved 25 pence by buying a thing on sale that you didn't actually need. You've actually spent 75 pence on something you didn't actually need. I know. It's a bit different when you look at it that way.
I try to just have one package, at a time. And Salat too, he likes these a lot. But the fried noodle Indomie, they're so good. Oh my gosh, they're dangerously good. So this is a huge challenge for me, but honestly, it really helps me. What I do is, like, usually I have 2 to 3 packets, okay? Sometimes 4, but that's like on a bingey day. I haven't had that in a long time. When I have one, I air fry my broccoli and it adds so much volume to it, and it just like kind of tricks my brain. So adding like veggies to things adds volume, and it kind of tricks your brain to make you think that you're eating more.
My dear child, if you add an ingredient to some food, you are eating more. You're not tricking your brain into thinking you're eating more because you've added it. If you replaced some of the noodles or the rice with a lot of vegetables, then your body thinks it's getting more calories and more filling and more nutritious food. But if you just take the packet and then add vegetables, you are eating more. You need to replace the starches and carbohydrates with vegetables, not add the vegetables to the carbohydrates. Does that make any sense? Yes, not adding, replacing. Okay. I think I want a new position. Can I be the fairy godmother to I was going to say Boris Johnson, but no. Pedro Pascal. I want to be Pedro Pascal's emotional support fairy godmother. Failing that, Greg Davis. Or I can do both. I can multitask. Please? Additionally, this whole noodly thing. As a former student, and I'm sure a lot of people who were also students would understand, these packet of noodly things is quite handy when you are struggling somewhat to feed yourself because you don't get a lot of money given to you when you're a student, and also as a student you're quite crap at managing money. Anyway, it comes with a tiny little packet of flavouring, and the whole point of the noodlies is to just cook the noodlies in the little packet and then eat just those. Now in China and Japan, they take the little noodlies and then they add fresh vegetables and like bok choy and lemongrass and sugar snap peas, and eat that in kind of a broth, sometimes with a boiled egg, and that sounds perfectly respectable too. But adding tomato paste and heavy cream and chicken stock and then vegetables, I have literally never heard of that before until I was given the position of being this one's fairy godmother. And quite frankly, That sounds like a way to eat noodles that only an extreme glutton would do. I believe you had cheese as well. It gets worse, because by themselves, those noodly things have no nutritional value whatsoever. They would be good in an apocalypse, obviously. I mean, if you were scavenging for food and you had a tin of dog food and some noodles, the noodles would be preferable. But no offence to noodle manufacturers, but quite frankly, they're shit.
Actually, it's beef mortadella with olives in it. I really like that.
You started this video saying you were endeavouring to go on a lifestyle change, and now you bring out some heavily processed meat. Do you know how they make that stuff? No? Okay, allow me to enlighten you. After they've cut off all the good bits of meat and then salvaged all the trimmings and leftovers to make things like sausages, they get all the other bits and scrape them off the bones and all the stuff that's too tiny, too small, too fatty to use for anything else, and they grind it all up until it becomes a paste. Then they add some flavourings, some citric acid, some saline, and then they press it and squish it until all the liquid comes out, and this paste forms a solid square of meat remnants that have been pulverized and pulped and then pushed together, and then they slice it into little slices and they present it to you as if it was actual meat. Sounds delicious. Whereas another option could be to go to the deli and choose a cooked chicken breast and get that sliced at the deli, so that your meat slices are actually slices of actual meat instead of compressed meat paste.
So I'm excited to try this right now while I edit. And I'm gonna have a cappuccino Nescafe.
This coffee is instant coffee, that weird stuff like Coffee Mate that pretends to be milk, various other preservatives and chemicals, bicarbonate of soda or something that makes it foam, and is at minimum 75 calories. I bet she also mixes it with milk or something of that nature, which would bring it up to about 100 calories for a cup of coffee, whereas if you just had instant coffee and just milk, you're looking at maybe 25 calories without lots of additives and stuff. And quite frankly, it doesn't taste like any cappuccino that ever existed ever. It's like a bad impression of a cappuccino, if you ordered your cappuccino off Wish. Empty calories, love. They're empty calories. A calorie that doesn't give you any health benefits, no nutritional value whatsoever. There is no gain whatsoever apart from actual calories, which you probably don't put in your little calorie counter, do you? Because it's a drink, and somehow drinks are often forgotten when counting calories. I bet you don't put your Diet Pepsi in either, because you're thinking, well, that's only a calorie. Well, what that is learning to cheat yourself by saying, it's not worth adding this, it's not worth adding that. Because at the end of the day, all the things you've decided not to add up.
We have a loaf of the white bread for Salah for sandwiches.
Do you cut the crusts off for him when you make him his sandwiches? Do you cut the crusts off for little Salah? Because he doesn't like the crusts. Poor little baby. He has such an underdeveloped palate. Do you puree? Oh, you do puree his vegetables, don't you? Oh. And you said you never wanted kids.
Grilled cheese sandwiches and things. He hates multigrain toast, and I love it. So, more butter. We go through more butter than Paula Deen in this house.
And one might argue, if one was so inclined, that you are equally as racist, if one was that kind of person.
We got thick cream.
I fucking give up. I fucking give up. Seriously? You don't need cream for anything. You really don't need cream in your house. You don't. Not for sauces, not for cooking, not for noodles, not for coffee. You don't need cream. Cream is not essential.
And spiral fries, because I've been craving them so bad.
Do you know how they make those? Right. When you make chips in the factory, potato chips, French fries, whatever, and they chop, you end up with these itty bitty little bits of pieces that aren't good enough to put in the actual bag of fries. So they take the itty bitty little pieces and they mush it all together like mashed potato, and then they shape it. You make it into a paste again. Just want to say that no food that comes in a paste before being made into a shape of the food product is good for you. Anyway, so they shape the paste and then deep fry it for you till it's almost cooked, and then you can put it in the oven and think it's healthy because you've put it in the oven when actually it's already been deep fried. It's deep fried potato paste that's been seasoned.
Huge bag of soda. So we have some Diet Colas, Diet 7-Ups, Diet for me, and then we have like Mirindas and Mountain Dews and whatever for Salah. So
what do you think the likelihood is that once her sodas have been finished, she'll start drinking his? It's been shown that eating artificially sweetened foods sets your brain up to expect sweet things. So technically, as you know, Foodie, because of that Oreo flavoured cola, which you didn't actually like, once you've had something that's pretending to be sugar-filled and is sweet, it makes you want to have more sweet stuff, which inevitably leads to actual sweet stuff.
that is the extent of our snacks grocery haul.
I do not believe that for 1 second. Where's the juice? Where's the Doritos? Where's Salah's Snickers. Where's all the other snacky snacks you like to get? You've shown us what you think is the least worse of the stuff you've bought, because that is a woefully small grocery haul for you guys.
I'm sure like it's not the norm. Like, do any of you like order like almost every day dinner?
No, not every day, not every week, not even every month. This year, middle of November we're at, so this year I have ordered food to be delivered to my house once. And that food was for 3 goblins having a sleepover, and none of it was for me. And I didn't eat a single piece of it. So I legitimately have absolutely no idea when I last ordered a delivery of pre-made food for myself. We are talking years. Actual years. In fact, I don't order it at all if it's just for me.
And just have snacks and drinks? I don't know. I cook, but not every day, for sure. Like, we eat out more, for sure.
We know. And you don't see the harm in it because it's not expensive. The thing is, the harm in it, for you specifically, Foodie, is though it is cheap, you get enough food for a family, and you eat yourself at least half of it. Because we know Salah doesn't have a big appetite. He eats until he's full and then he stops. So while your entire chicken, large portion of rice, 2 sides plus soup and a drink is very cost effective, you're not saving anything when it comes to your health, because you know you will eat it until it's gone. So yes, it's cheap, great. It saves you making an effort, fantastic. Unfortunately, portions are absolutely shocking and therefore defeats the purpose completely.